Today is June 11th, 2021, and this is your daily Half-Life 3 update. There is no news about Half-Life 3. So I have a question, something that I never understood, is why are sequels in video game franchises just so messed up and confusing and make no sense at all? I see this a lot. Particularly, I was looking at the Battlefield franchise, and it starts off with like Battlefield 1942 or something, then it goes to Battlefield Vietnam, then Battlefield 2, even though it's the third one. And then they do Bad Company, I think. Then they make a Bad Company sequel. And then they go 3 and 4. And then I think it's Hardline. And then they make Battlefield 1. I missed the Battlefield, like a 2049 or something, like 2149 or something like that. But anyway, so they do Battlefield 4. Then they do Battlefield Hardline, maybe. Then they have Battlefield 1. Then they have Battlefield 5. I don't know. It's just a thing I notice a lot with these big video game franchises. They just make no sense with their namings. I know for a while Call of Duty kind of made sense a little bit because it had like two separate things. It had two separate like divisions making games, which is why they had a game come out every year. So it'd be like, oh, I'd make a Modern Warfare game, and the next year it would be a Black Ops game, and then the year after that it would be the sequel to the Modern Warfare game, and then the year after that it would be the sequel to the Black Ops game. That kind of, that relatively speaking, makes sense. But still, I don't know. The Battlefield stuff is especially makes, absolutely no sense. They're just dropping subtitles and adding numbers, and it goes, I don't know. I don't know why is this a thing? Why do they do it like that? Why not just not have numbers? Just throw some stupid subtitle on it, and there you go. As long as you don't call something the final chapter, you're good. Because whenever you call something the final chapter, it's inevitably not the final chapter. I mean, Saw 7 was the final chapter, and then they made Jigsaw and Spiral. God knows why they made those two movies, but they did. At least Resident Evil was the final chapter until they rebooted it, so it's still somewhat, the final chapter. I think they had was it Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th that had a final chapter? Maybe they both had a final chapter. But one of them had a final chapter, and it wasn't the final chapter. I don't think Friday the 13th had a final chapter. I want to say it was Nightmare on Elm Street had a final chapter. I don't know. Horror movie titles aren't any better. They're not as bad as video game titles. But don't even get me started on the Amityville. There have been like 50 Amityville movies in the last 30 years. It's absurd, but whatever. And that has been your daily Half-Life 3 update for June 11th, 2021.